Hey guys, happy Lament Week. For my first expression of lament, obviously it's the election cycle right now, and we're seeing tons of animosity from both sides, and the whole country just turning over on each other. And depending on who's winning, everyone's just hating the other side. Both sides are claiming voter fraud. Both sides might be right. We're seeing Trump get silenced by Twitter and MSNBC refusing to show his speaking and whatnot, and conservatives being heavily silenced on social media platforms as bots take over. And it's just it's a cry for help from a lot of people, and it relates directly to my calling because I'm called to be a pastor, and I'm supposed to be able to lead these people. I'm supposed to be able to lead liberals to feel safe and to be able to have open conversations, and conservatives to feel heard and loved, and know that everyone else isn't their enemy, that there is moral, like, middle ground where people can have intellectual conversations and just love and trust God instead of feeling like the world's out to get them and it's good versus evil and both sides thinking they're on the good and not realizing that they're just in a broken system and God's the way out. And it's hard to even find a voice in today's day of censorship, but that's what I'm called to do, and so I've got to learn to do it better. For the second, I'll get to the second expression at the end. For my third expression, my dad passed away about 4 years ago while Amber was pregnant with Avery, and it sucked. He was out of my life for most of it. My mom left him when I was one. They were married for over 20 years. They just had me late, and she left him when I was one. And then he got remarried, and I got a restraining order from his wife's family. And I didn't really see him much until he and his second wife divorced around when I was like 14, 15. And he was already disabled. And my mom kicked me out at 17, so I got a place with him, and we bonded. I found out I was so much like him, and we got along great, and finally got a healthy relationship and fixed so many daddy issues I had growing up. And it was wonderful. We were dirt poor, but it was wonderful. And to see him deteriorate and want to die and not fight to live, it hurt. And I was at the hospital when he passed. I held his hand. I was the only one there. And we talked in the synchronous meeting. I'm not like a super emotional guy, but I felt so much, and I don't understand what I'm feeling. I'm not used to thinking in that manner, but just knowing, like watching someone you love, knowing in your head that you're not going to see them again while you're alive, and that the time keeps going at the same speed. You can't slow it down. You know it's a moment that's going to impact the entire rest of your life, and you can't slow it down. You can't grab a hold of it in any tangible way. You just have to stand there lost in your thoughts as it happens to you. And it's an emptying, dark, difficult feeling. And I'm somebody that's more blessed than most people alive, most people that have ever lived. I mean, even U.S. poor right now is richer than most people have ever been in history. And I'm not even U.S. poor anymore. I've got a good job. Like, we're doing okay. I've got a wonderful family. None of my kids have died. My wife's with me. Like, I am so blessed, and just bad things happen. And I, as a pastor, I have to talk to people about how bad things happen to good people and dealing with the problem of evil. And I got my bachelor's in philosophy. I'm well versed in the head knowledge, but in the heart knowledge, in the emotion, being able to be with them through it, being able to get them to trust God when they're in Mother Teresa's darkness, dark night of the soul. Like, I've experienced that when you know from years of affirmation and trust and love that God is there somewhere, but you don't hear him and you don't see him, and it hurts and it sucks and it's lonely. And I probably need grief counseling on my own to understand my own thoughts and feelings. But definitely, if I want to be able to comfort people, because we're called to listen to other people and help them through those times, especially if we're going to be working in the clergy, we're supposed to be the experts, and I feel nowhere near there. So for my second expression, I went with Psalm 55, which is not on the list, but just because that's the only way I really have been able to, I guess, I wouldn't say overcome, but get through these emotional times. Psalm 55:22 says, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved." And so far, what I've done, I don't know if it's the healthy or the right thing. I need to learn more. I need to understand more and experience more. But all I've been able to really do is just kind of go to a dark place and try to process my emotions. I never really understand them. I just kind of feel them in different orders and think, and then eventually I'm okay to come back outside and live life again. But it's really in those dark times that we have to have that cry of lament where we express to God that we trust him, and that we know that we're not strong enough to handle all this on our own, and that we need him to do it. So this is the only way I know how to. I cast all my cares upon you. I lay all of my burdens down at your feet. And anytime I don't know what to do, I will cast all my cares upon you. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great week. I'm sorry we weren't able to take part if you guys made it for the synchronous meetings with the professor, but love you guys and hope you guys are all doing well. I know it's a weird, difficult week wherever you guys are at politically, but we're strong together in Christ.